Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Pankuri, your host, and this is After the Job. I feel like it's been such a long time since I've done a longer episode than the ones that I've been dropping on my channel. I swear life's been so crazy. I've been going through some changes. And these changes have been massive. Like, I've just been going through certain transitions. I had to move, and then I'm still not settled properly. And I'm still like trying to figure things out, but also staying committed because I love doing this, right? And I know most of you love watching things that I put out, which I'm so thankful for. I love that people have allowed my intention to land. And yeah, which is why I'm here again, despite all the challenges, despite everything happening, which brings me to what this episode is going to be about. So I did an episode in October on the segment before the year ends, where I basically spoke about the October theory. It was an assessment that I made in terms of the various aspects of my life and where I stood in terms of all of those aspects. And then I did series B for the same segment, where I laid down 10 goals for you guys to set for yourself in the month of November so that you guys could avoid feeling the pressure to set a New Year's resolution before the year began. And now I am back to close that segment with the final series. I just want to tell you guys, how can you actually make those tweaks in your life currently so that you're able to achieve your goals. And I mean the 10 goals that we set in the month of November. Go watch that video if you haven't. And also watch series A if you haven't. And those of you who already have, I love you guys so much for being so loyal and faithful to my content. Anyway, let's dive right in. All right. So I'm going to quickly list down each of the goals as I go, and I'm going to explain how can you make those tweaks in your life so that you're able to set your habits towards achieving these goals, right? So the number one goal was to stop hiding. I told you guys to stop hiding and start accepting yourself. Now, how do you exactly do that? I'm going to give you like practical tools. All right, things that actually work. And once you start doing those things, you're on that path to achieving that goal. No two ways about it. The quickest way to start doing that is go stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself, I accept myself exactly as I am. I love myself exactly as I am. You look at yourself dead in the eye and you repeat these affirmations for maybe like 2 or 3 times. Do this every day for 21 days because 21 days is exactly the amount of time you require to set a new habit. Once you do this, you've already like rewired your brain and given it that signal that from now on, we're accepting ourselves exactly the way that we are. Okay? This is one practical tip. Another tip. It's really about, challenging yourself to be vulnerable. Sometimes not hiding from yourself and accepting yourself is going to require you to be okay with being vulnerable, right? So, for example, if somebody hurts me today, right? If a friend hurts me today and I have a rapport with that friend where I can and I want to go and tell them that they hurt me, then I should go and tell them that they hurt me. That's how not only are you being true to yourself, by admitting that you're hurt, you're also telling this other person, which will obviously require you to be vulnerable so that you can go and tell them that they hurt you. And that entails that you stop hiding from yourself, that you accept yourself. All right. So try these 2 things. Turn them into habits by just following this simple practice for like the next 21 days. And that's how you set a new habit. And that's how you walk towards that goal of not wanting to hide yourself anymore. All right. Let's move on. Number 2 is setting boundaries. This one's pretty easy. There is no practical tip except the most obvious one, which is you just have to start saying no. Say no to something that you don't like. If you're living with your parents, if you're living with your friends, your partner, just start with a simple no. Say no to something that you don't like, and it doesn't have to be a very big thing that you refuse. It can be something very small. For example, somebody offers you an apple, right? You're not in a mood to eat an apple. Just gonna say no, I don't want to eat. Politely, calmly, but resolutely refuse. Just say no, I don't want to eat. Simple. And do this for 21 days. Say no to something for 21 days, and that's how you set a boundary. This is the most obvious trick that there is in the book to start setting boundaries and to develop that habit of saying no, setting that boundary. Saying no is a boundary. Once you integrate that, you've primed your brain. All right. Let's move on. The third goal was you have to work out at least 3 times a week for at least 21 minutes. See, there was a reason why I said 21 minutes, because 21 is the number that primes your brain for habit setting. All right. And that's how I just sort of thought to myself, why not give them 21 minutes instead of 20, right? That brings me to the point of setting a habit in itself. Instead of doing this 3 times a week, why don't you try with getting movement in your body for the next 21 days going forward without a break? So it could be walking for 21 minutes, or it could be bang on dead ass workout. All right. But there has to be proper bodily movement involved. All right. Walking around the house doesn't count. Walking around in your living room doesn't count. You're going to do this the proper way. Step outside. All right. Put your shoes on. Get into like comfortable workout clothes and go for a walk. Do that. If you don't want to like work out every day for 21 days, go for a walk. But make sure you move your body for 21 days. Set that habit. Okay. Prime your brain that now this is what we're doing. We're taking care of ourselves. And then you can go to working out 3 times a week for 21 minutes. All right. Moving on. Fourth goal was you're not going to try to fit into places where you know you clearly don't belong. Look, this one's pretty simple. Again, I think I have to tie this back to that habit of saying no, right? But this is also going to require you to make a determination about the groups that you're associated with. If there are certain groups, friend groups, social groups, work groups, you know that you do not like the energy there. You know that there is some sort of non-congruence, right? There is some sort of disharmony. But despite that knowledge, you have forced yourself so far to be a part of this group just because you want validation, you want acceptance. Part of you feels isolated, part of you feels lonely, things like that. You need to break away from that group. Just pick one group, all right? Or maybe pick one person. Forget a group, pick one person. Identify one person whose energy you know you don't like. Deep down, you don't like their energy. You know there is some sort of disharmony. Break away from that person. Stop hanging out. Do this for 21 days. Okay? And then once you have primed yourself, your body, your brain, to the fact that now you're no more associated with this person, then maybe you can tell them the truth. I know this is a little sneaky and this is not something that I would have advised. Otherwise, it's always good to communicate. But in the off chance that you're not comfortable communicating upfront, head on, then maybe do that. Just cut yourself off. Prime your brain for 21 days by not associating yourself with them, and then maybe tell them. And then maybe you can implement the same practice with other people if there are other people in your life that you really want to just get done with. All right. Because I know it as a matter of fact that we all have had certain people that we wished we would have just gotten rid of sooner. Right. But we couldn't. Now is the time for you to do it. You do not want to carry negative energy with yourself into 2026. All right. Take this shit seriously. Your energy is precious. Take it seriously. Cut that one person off so that you can do it for the rest as is needed. Moving on. Fifth goal was you will do what you said you would do. It's very simple. If there is still something that you haven't done, but you said you would do, go do it. Pick one small task. That could be calling a friend. Pick that one piece of undone thing and do it. Go do it. All right? Scratch it off your list and then do the same thing for 21 days. Do something for 21 days. And if you've already done everything that you said you would do, great. You're a winner already. You're my winner. Okay, moving on. Number 6 was I asked you guys to bring your focus down to a maximum of 2 things at a time. I don't think there is a hard and fast rule as to how to achieve this, except you just have to do it. I know there can be a lot of distractions. You know what I mean? Because if you're someone who wants to do a lot of things, your brain is just going to be distracted. Probably. You're just going to be like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I sometimes get like that as well. I've spoken about this in my previous video as well. This conscious training of your brain helps where you have to consciously tell yourself, for the next 1 hour, this is what I'm doing. So like you just have to sort of compartmentalize and focus on just that one thing. This is on your day-to-day basis, right? So that your mind is not scattered. But when I meant that you will only have to focus on 2 things at a time in terms of your professional goals, what I meant, just to rehash and reiterate, was that you will focus on 2 opportunity vehicles. One that you can get some money out of, and the other one that you will eventually get some money out of, right? This one's pretty simple. Just get down to it. Yeah, but like, bring your focus down. Honestly, compartmentalize and put your blinders on and just get to work. There's no 2 ways about it. Don't let yourself have like a scattered energy. Right now, specifically, December should be your month, and you have to consciously just bring all of your focus, all of your energies back to yourself. I've been saying this for the last 3 months, but I swear now you cannot afford to have your energy not with yourself. You know what I mean? So bring it back to yourself. Put all of your energies on just 2 things. If you're still sort of figuring your way around your professional and career goals, just bring your energy back to yourself. Place it into 2 buckets, one that you can optimize for money and the other one that you will eventually optimize for money. But right now, you're just upskilling through this other thing. All right? There's no habit setting here. It's just like training your brain to do that thing. That's it. Moving on. Number 7 was try and control what is actually in your control and don't try to control what you can't. Okay, this one's pretty simple but slightly tricky because when you're caught up in the moment, you can, it's easier said than done. You can forget. We have a tendency to forget, to like bring ourselves back to the present moment and like tell ourselves that, okay, this is not in my control. Don't unnecessarily panic. Do not get your anxious brain thinking. It's difficult to do that, all right? It's been difficult for me as well. But that's where just sort of trying to ground yourself helps, all right? If you are caught up in a situation where, you are sort of like your thoughts are running at the speed of light or something and you don't know what to do, this is what you need to do. Try to be still for a second. Ground yourself. Try to feel your feet physically on the ground and just ask yourself, all right? You don't have to ask yourself out loud, but you can just ask yourself internally. That internal voice, use that. Is this something that I can control? Is the answer yes? Then control it. Do something about it. If the answer is no, and you can't control that thing, then just let it go. Let it be. Exit. Simply exit. There's no other way, babe. Just exit. I'll give you an example. I was in a fender bender. My car suffered a couple of scratches. There was a lot of kerfuffle, lot of people gathered around us. Everybody's watching. There's an entire spectacle. Cops gathered. This guy was constantly yelling at the top of his voice, trying to pin the blame on me. And I initially got defensive, and then the cops asked me to, calm down. I realized in that moment that it's not in my control as to what this guy says and what he doesn't. What's in my control is I can keep my calm. I can ground myself so that I have more control over the situation, right? It's not in my control as to him going all bonkers about the situation, despite the fact that it was entirely his fault and that's what was determined in the end. So I kept my calm. I let him finish. And then I spoke to the cops in front of everybody. And it was determined that it was his fault and not mine. He was reprimanded and then sent away. And yeah, the matter was settled, So that was just an example of how you should try to focus on what you can do, because then that gives you greater control over the situation. Honestly, you trying to control something which is not in your control will only snatch control away from you. And you will not be able to control or determine or influence the outcome of the situation. But if you just focus on what you can control, if you manage your reaction, if you manage your action, then you may be able to control and influence the outcome of the situation that you're entangled in. You know what I mean? So that was goal number 7 for you. And that is how goal number 8 was to try and exercise patience, even when things are hard. Look, the only way that you can acclimatize yourself is to begin exercising patience. And I think the only way to begin doing that is to take a pause. Don't react. Take a pause, think about it, let yourself simmer in it, and then respond. You know what I mean? And I'm going to take an example that I took in my previous video as well, that if you are putting all of your blood, sweat, and tears into something that you're doing and you feel like the results are not showing up, I don't want you to react. Take a pause there and then respond to the situation. And the way that you respond to the situation is by telling yourself that your efforts are not going to go to waste. You sort of just have to try to do this. There's nothing that you can do except tell yourself in that moment, I'm going to exercise patience. Honestly, there are no two ways about this. And this, I think, ties to the 9th goal I wanted you guys to set in the month of November, was to sit quietly every day for at least 20 minutes. I think the more you do this, the greater the probability of you being able to exercise patience in difficult situations gets. The more you're able to let yourself marinate for the better in stillness, the greater your powers to be able to exercise patience becomes. Moving on, guys, to our goal number 10, and that is do not announce your plans before you have made the moves. This is very simple. The best way to be able to implement this and the best way to be able to achieve this is do not speak more than you're required to speak. Only provide answers to the limited extent of the range of the question. If you're asked, what's your name? Don't go on and announce where you're from. Just say, this is my name. You know what I mean? That's the simplest example. So do not speak more than you're required to speak. That's it. That's how you implement this. That's how you achieve this goal. That thing will announce itself. You will not be required to announce anything to the world. And yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. I hope this made sense and I hope you guys like it. And if you did, then let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And please hit that like and subscribe button. I want to keep bringing to you guys everything that I can. I have a lot of great content planned. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and I will see you very soon.